In 2025, a drone pilot discovered three college students in Red Echo Canyon, Utah, 187 feet up a sheer sandstone wall. Flash floods don't lift bodies up, they sweep them down. For 31 years, searchers walked right underneath them. Helicopters flew past. Families hiked by 47 times. The alcove faced the wrong direction, invisible from the ground unless you were airborne at exactly the right angle. And on Sunday, March 19, 1994, at 7 p.m., a phone didn't ring. Jordan Matthews's father searched that canyon 47 times. He died in 2018. They found Jordan in 2025. He walked under his son and never knew. You'll see how three friends spent their last day documenting spring break on camcorder. How a flash flood lifted them 187 feet in a waterspout no one thought possible. And how one drone frame changed what 31 years of searching couldn't. This is the Red Echo Canyon case. March 19, 1994, San Juan County, Utah. The March morning arrives cold and clear in Boulder, Colorado. Jordan Blake Matthews wakes at 5:32 a.m., 2 minutes before his alarm, like always, and lies in his narrow twin bed listening to his apartment breathe around him. His roommate's alarm hasn't gone off yet. The radiator clanks. Outside, a car passes on College Avenue, headlights sweeping across the ceiling. Normal sounds, Friday sounds. The sounds of March 19, 1994, which will turn out to be the last normal day of three lives, though no one knows this yet. Jordan reaches for the compass on his nightstand. His father's Vietnam-era compass, brass and heavy, the leather cord worn soft from years of wear. David Matthews carried it through Kisan in 1968. Jordan has carried it through every hike since he was 12. He winds the cord around his fingers once, twice, checks the inscription on the back, True North, always Dad, then loops it over his head where it settles against his sternum, warm metal on bare skin. He adjusts it 3 times. His decision-making ritual, once for the plan, twice for the preparation, 3 times for commitment. Spring break starts today. Red Echo Canyon, 3 days of hiking, climbing, photography. Him, Alicia Marcus, the plan is perfect. Weather checked obsessively, clear skies predicted through Sunday. Route mapped and remapped, gear triple-checked against his laminated checklist. Jordan doesn't take risks. Jordan eliminates variables. At 5:45 a.m., he fills his blue enamel camp mug with water, sets it on the hot plate. His coffee ritual is specific. Methodical, boil water, French press, 4 minutes exactly. Pour, drink standing at the window watching sunrise. He's done this every morning for 3 years. Will do it again at their campsite tomorrow. Won't live to do it Sunday. The coffee tastes like every other Friday coffee. Bitter, strong, grounding. Jordan squints his left eye, studying the topographic map spread across his desk, tongue slightly visible in corner of mouth, the way he does when concentrating. Red Echo Canyon spreads in contour lines and elevation markers. 4.2 miles from staging area to campsite. Class 3 scrambling, spring runoff minimal, weather clear, everything looks perfect. His Nikon F3 sits on the desk beside the map, film already loaded, 36 exposures. Jordan taps the lens cap twice before removing it, his pre-shoot ritual, and points the camera out the window. Dawn light on the flat irons. He doesn't take the shot. Saving film for the canyon. For Alicia, examining rock formations. For Marcus, being Marcus. For Sarah, when he calls Sunday evening at 7 p.m. from the payphone in Bluff to tell her about the trip, about the light, about how he's thinking of her even in the middle of nowhere. He always calls Sarah on Sundays at 7 p.m., has called every Sunday for 2 years. She'll be sitting by the phone in her dorm room waiting. Sunday, 7 p.m. always. No matter where he is, he finds a payphone. It's their ritual, their connection, their promise. Jordan touches Sarah's photograph in his wallet, her crooked smile, her hair in that messy bun she always wears when studying. The engagement ring is in his front right pocket. Sometimes he wears it on the cord with the compass, but not today. Today it rides in his pocket where he can feel it when he walks. 5 months until their wedding. August 12, 1995. Everything planned, everything mapped. By 6:15 a.m., his backpack is loaded, tent, sleeping bag, camp stove, the blue mug wrapped in a spare shirt, enough food for 3 days. water filtration, first aid kit, camera, extra film, map in waterproof case. He runs through the checklist twice, checks weather one more time on the Weather Channel, clear skies, highs in the mid-60s, lows in the 40s, perfect. He whistles the three-note tune his grandfather taught him. Three notes, simple and bright. He whistles it when he hikes, when he's happy, when the world feels exactly right. Today, the world feels exactly right. Across town, Alicia Marie Chen wakes at 6 a.m. to her running alarm and considers skipping her morning run. 3-day backpacking trip starts today, plenty of hiking ahead, but routine is routine. She pulls on her shoes, her black North Face fleece, ties her red bandana around her left wrist. The bandana is silk, vibrant red from her grandmother in Taiwan, her good luck charm. She's worn it every single day since her grandmother sent it 3 years ago. Before she leaves her dorm room, she touches it 7 times. Her ritual before any climbing, any adventure, anything that matters. 7 touches for luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The silk is soft, familiar, grounding. She runs her usual route, 30 minutes, campus loop. Returns to her room at 6:45 a.m., showers, braids her wet hair into 2 tight braids. She twists them when she's thinking. Right now, she's thinking about Red Echo Canyon geology, Navajo sandstone formation, cross-bedding patterns, differential erosion. She's been researching the canyon for weeks, filling her moleskine notebook with sketches and observations she hasn't made yet. Her rock hammer hangs from a carabiner on her belt loop. She touches it absently. The weight is familiar, comforting. Every rock she's ever collected sits in careful rows on her bookshelf, labeled, dated, sourced. Red Echo will be her first canyon formation samples. She's planned exactly which sections to photograph, which layers to examine. She taps her pen 4 times on her notebook before writing the date. March 19, 1994, Red Echo Canyon Trip Day 1. Then closes her eyes, tilts her head back, and thinks about what Jordan described, the light in slot canyons, the way sandstone glows orange at sunrise, the silence that feels like being inside the Earth's memory. Her parents called last night. Video phone call, her Thursday ritual. They asked about the trip. She showed them the map. Her mother worried about safety. Her father reminded her to drink enough water. Alicia promised to be careful. She's always careful, methodical, analytical. She calculates everything: distances, elevations, water needs, weather windows. The math says this trip is safe. The math is wrong, but she doesn't know that yet. Marcus Tyrrell Washington wakes at 6:30 a.m. to his roommate blasting Snoop Dogg and decides this is perfect. Friday energy, spring break energy. He rolls out of bed, spins his basketball on one finger while brushing his teeth with the other hand, checks his Sony Hi8 camcorder battery fully charged, and grins at his reflection. Day 1, he says to the mirror, practicing his documentary voice. Spring break 1994, Red Echo Canyon Expedition. He's been filming everything since he got the camera for Christmas. His documentary filmmaking professor says Marcus has an eye for moments, for catching people being themselves. This trip is gold. Jordan being intense about maps. Alicia explaining geology like she's David Attenborough. The 3 of them doing their thing in one of the most beautiful places Marcus has ever seen in photographs. He hums the Fresh Prince theme while packing. He hums TV theme songs when he's happy: Cheers, Seinfeld, The Simpsons. He'll hum them all weekend, his soundtrack to their adventure. Marcus documents everything but rarely rewatches. The act of filming is the point, being present while also preserving. Living it twice, once through his eyes, once through the lens. His Denver Broncos cap sits backwards on his head, always backwards. The bill rests against his neck, sun-bleached and salt-stained from a summer working construction. He'll be wearing it still when they find him 31 years from now, though by then the blue will have faded almost white. He checks his watch 4 times while packing, his decision ritual, making sure he's not forgetting anything. Tapes. Batteries. Backup batteries, charger. The camera goes in last, cradled in a spare hoodie for protection. At 7:15 a.m., he films himself in the mirror. Marcus Washington, communications major, University of Colorado Boulder, about to embark on the greatest spring break of all time. Jordan's got the maps. Alicia's got the rocks. I've got the camera. Let's do this. He doesn't know he's just filmed part of his own eulogy. They meet at Jordan's truck at 8:30 a.m. in the campus parking lot. Marcus films the whole thing, Jordan loading his backpack with military precision, Alicia double-checking her water supply, the three of them standing by the tailgate making their plans final. Pueblo by noon, Jordan says, squinting at his map. Lunch stop. Bluff by 6 p.m. Camp Friday night in town. Enter Canyon Saturday morning. A geology formation analysis approximately 4.7 miles in. Alicia adds, chewing the inside of her left cheek the way she does when calculating. Optimal light for photography between 4 and 6 p.m. And I'm filming all of it, Marcus says, camera running. This is going to be legendary. They pile into Jordan's '87 Toyota pickup, brown, reliable, covered in Environmental Science Club stickers. The truck that will be found in the staging area parking lot on March 22, keys in the ignition, map folded on the passenger seat, waiting for three people who will never return to it. At 8:47 a.m., they pull onto Highway 36 heading south. The radio plays REM. Jordan drives exactly the speed limit. Alicia reads her geology textbook. Marcus films the Colorado mountains sliding past the window, humming Cheers theme happy. Normal college students on normal spring break doing normal things. Hiking, camping, documenting, living. They have 41 hours and 43 minutes left. But right now in this truck on this highway under this impossible blue March sky, they have everything. Friendship and plans and futures. Alicia's USC's career, Jordan's wedding in August. Marcus's documentary film degree, the whole world waiting, the whole world waiting. They're driving toward Red Echo Canyon where the Earth has already prepared an alcove 187 feet up, where flash flood physics will lift them impossibly high, where they'll stay for 31 years preserved and invisible while families search and search and search. But they don't know that yet. Right now, Jordan adjusts his compass. Once, twice, 3 times. Right now, Alicia touches her red bandana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right now. Marcus films the road ahead and says into the camera, Day 1, best spring break ever. He's right and he's wrong, and in 7 hours they'll make camp, and in 18 hours the water will come, and in 31 years a drone will find them. But right now they're just 3 friends driving south into the sun, toward a canyon that's waiting, toward a spring break that will last forever in all the wrong ways. The truck disappears into distance. The highway stretches on. The mountains stand silent. And 900 miles south in Red Echo Canyon, the alcove sits empty in the sandstone wall. Waiting. They stop for breakfast burritos at a gas station in Pueblo at 11:43 a.m., the kind of roadside place that smells like diesel and burnt coffee and possibility. Marcus films Jordan ordering 3 breakfast burritos, extra salsa, and Alicia calculating mileage on a napkin with a borrowed pen. They eat standing by the truck in pale March sunshine, grease soaking through paper wrappers, talking about nothing and everything. 4 hours to Bluff, Jordan says, checking his watch. We'll make it by 6, easy. Optimal, Alicia says, and they all laugh because she says that about everything. Marcus captures it all, the laughter, the grease-stained fingers, the way Jordan adjusts his compass 3 times before getting back in the truck. These moments feel throwaway. Film is cheap. Time is infinite. They don't know these 47 seconds of footage will be watched by families in 2025, studying their faces for signs of what's coming, finding only youth and spring break and burritos. By 6:03 p.m., they're in Bluff, Utah, population 320, red dust settling on everything, the San Juan River running low and brown in the early spring. Jordan pulls into the staging area parking lot where a small brown National Park Service sign reads, Red Echo Canyon Day, use only, flash flood danger. They'll camp here tonight, enter the canyon tomorrow morning. Jordan parks the truck facing east toward where they'll hike, checks his map one more time, squinting his left eye, tongue at corner of mouth. At 6:47 p.m., while they're setting up their tent for the night, an elderly Navajo man walks past on the access road. He's wearing a turquoise bolo tie and carrying a walking stick worn smooth by decades. He stops, watches them for a moment, then raises one hand in greeting, palm out, fingers together held steady. Jordan waves back. The elder says nothing, just nods, continues walking, disappears into the sage and evening light. In 2025, when investigators interview every person who might have seen the three students, they'll find this man, Thomas Begay, age 89 in 2025, age 58 in 1994. He'll remember them clearly. Three young people, he'll say. Good energy, I waved, they waved back. The tall one with the camera smiled. I wanted to tell them to check weather upstream, but I was late for my daughter's dinner, so I just waved. He'll carry that regret for the rest of his life. But now, March 1994, 6:47 p.m., it's just a wave, just an old man passing, just another moment Marcus doesn't film because his battery is charging. At 10:47 p.m., Jordan does his final gear check by flashlight. He goes through his laminated checklist, item by item, checking boxes with a pencil. Tent, sleeping bags, stove, food, water. First aid, camera, film, map, compass, everything accounted for, everything optimal. He touches the compass on his chest. Once, twice, three times. Tomorrow they enter the canyon. Saturday, March 20, 1994. 11:00 a.m. The morning breaks clear and cold, temperature in the high 40s climbing toward the predicted mid-60s. Perfect hiking weather. Jordan makes coffee in his blue enamel mug while Alicia and Marcus break down the tent. By 10:15 a.m., they're packed. By 10:43 a.m., they're standing at the trailhead looking into Red Echo Canyon. The canyon opens before them like the earth has been split by a divine axe. Sheer sandstone walls rise 300 feet on either side, orange and red and rust-colored, the Navajo sandstone formation that Alicia has been reading about for weeks. The morning light makes the walls glow like they are lit from within. Gorgeous, Marcus breathes, filming. Optimal, Alicia says, grinning. At exactly 11:00 a.m., they enter Red Echo Canyon. Marcus films their first steps, Jordan leading with map in hand. Alicia already examining rock faces, pointing out cross-bedding patterns, explaining erosion to the camera. The canyon floor is sandy, scattered with sage and juniper, the wash dry and harmless looking. Above them, the walls narrow. The sky becomes a ribbon of blue between vertical cliffs. They hike for 3 hours, stop for lunch on a flat boulder at 2:17 p.m. Marcus films Alicia sketching a rock formation in her moleskine, Jordan studying the map with intensity that makes Marcus laugh. Dude, we're on a trail, relax. But Jordan doesn't relax. Jordan eliminates variables. He checks the map against the terrain, confirms their position. Calculates remaining distance to campsite, 4.2 miles from staging area. They've covered 2.8, 1.4 to go. By 4:30 p.m., they reach the campsite Jordan marked on his map, a wide spot in the canyon where the walls pull back slightly, creating a natural amphitheater, sandy floor, scattered boulders, protection from wind. Perfect. They set up camp with the efficiency of people who have done this before. Tent staked and taut by 5:00 p.m., sleeping bags rolled out, camp stove assembled. Jordan fills his blue mug with water from his filter, sets it to boil. The ritual, always the ritual. While the water heats, he photographs the canyon walls turning amber in the late afternoon light. Alicia examines a sandstone outcrop 20 feet from camp, chipping samples with her rock hammer, placing them carefully in labeled bags. Marcus films everything, humming the Seinfeld theme happy. At 6:45 p.m., the sun drops behind the western canyon rim. The temperature falls 10 degrees in 15 minutes. They gather around the camp stove for dinner, freeze-dried pasta, instant coffee, granola bars, simple food that tastes perfect when you're tired and cold and exactly where you want to be. The stars emerge as darkness deepens. In cities, you forget how many stars exist. In Red Echo Canyon. On March 19, 1994, the Milky Way stretches overhead like a river of light. They lie on their sleeping bags outside the tent, looking up, not talking, just being. At 7:28 p.m., Marcus turns on his camcorder for one last shot. The battery indicator shows 14% remaining. He points the camera at Jordan and Alicia lying on either side of him, stars above, canyon walls, dark sentinels. How you feeling? Jordan, Marcus asks. Jordan grins his crooked smile. Good man, this is perfect. Alicia, Optimal, she says, and they all laugh. Marcus turns the camera on himself. His face fills the frame, lit by the camera's small light. Day 1 complete, he says. March 19, 1994, Red Echo Canyon, best spring break ever. The timestamp reads 7:30 p.m. He turns off the camera. The battery dies at 7:31 p.m. They have 7 hours left to live. At 2:30 a.m., 15 miles upstream, rain falls. Not here, not in Red Echo Canyon, where 3 college students sleep in a tent, exhausted and content, dreaming of tomorrow's hike and the photos they'll take and the stories they'll tell when they get back to Boulder. Upstream, where weather cells form over mesas and dump water into narrow tributary canyons that feed into Red Echo. Where 7 inches of rain falls in 45 minutes, soaking instantly into sandstone that channels every drop toward lower elevations. The water moves, flash floods don't announce themselves. No warning sirens, no gradual rise, just physics. Rainfall plus elevation plus gravity plus narrow channel geometry equals force. The water gathers, accelerates, becomes a wall. At 2:47 a.m., Jordan wakes to a sound like distant thunder. He's confused. The sky was clear, weather was perfect. But the sound grows, not thunder, something else, something wrong. He unzips the tent, steps outside. The stars are still there. The canyon walls still frame that ribbon of sky, but the sound is water. At 2:49 a.m., he sees it. A wall of water 30 feet high moving through the canyon at 20 miles per hour, white with suspended sediment and debris roaring like a freight train. In the 3 seconds it takes Jordan to process what he's seeing, to turn back toward the tent, to scream, "Get up!" The flood is upon them. The water hits the tent at 2:49 and 38 seconds. Marcus and Alicia are still in their sleeping bags. Jordan is 5 feet from the tent entrance. The water doesn't discriminate, doesn't care about youth or plans or August weddings. The force is beyond human comprehension. 30 feet of water moving at 20 miles per hour through a narrowing canyon creates pressures measured in tons per square foot. The tent dissolves, sleeping bags vanish, bodies tumble, and then the physics that will take 31 years to understand. The water hits a constriction point, a place where the canyon narrows to 15 feet across. The water can't all flow through, can't all go horizontal, so it goes up. Hydraulic water spout. Rare, documented, possible. The water column rises, spinning, lifting, carrying everything caught in its vortex, sand and rock and camping gear and 3 bodies up along the canyon wall. Higher, higher, 187 feet higher, where an alcove sits invisible from below, facing perpendicular to the main canyon. The water deposits them there. In that alcove, together, Jordan and Alicia and Marcus and the camping gear and the blue mug and the compass and the red bandana and the camera and the camcorder with its dead battery and its tape still loaded. Then the water recedes, drains away as fast as it came. By 3:15 a.m., Red Echo Canyon is silent again. The sand floor shows no trace of campsite. Everything scoured clean, everything removed, everything lifted up. Sunday, March 20, 1994, 7:00 p.m. 600 miles north in Boulder, Colorado, Sarah Collins sits on her dorm room bed next to the phone. She's been sitting here since 6:45 p.m. waiting. The clock on her desk reads 6:58 p.m., 6:59 p.m., 7:00 p.m. The phone doesn't ring. Jordan always calls on Sundays at 7:00 p.m. always. For 2 years. Every single Sunday. Even when he was on that backpacking trip in Wyoming, even when he had the flu, even when there was a blizzard and he had to drive 40 minutes to find a working payphone, he calls. It's their ritual. At 7:05 p.m., Sarah tells herself he's running late. The payphone in Bluff was occupied. He'll call any minute. 7:15 p.m., still no call. 7:30 p.m., she tries not to panic. 8:00 p.m., she calls his apartment. Gets his roommate. He's on that camping trip, right? Red Echo Canyon. Yeah, he'll call tomorrow probably. But Sarah knows better. Jordan doesn't miss calls. Jordan is methodical. Jordan eliminates variables. Monday passes, no call. Tuesday, March 22, 7:00 a.m., Sarah calls Patricia Matthews. Mrs. Matthews, it's Sarah. I'm sorry to bother you, but has Jordan called you? The pause on the other end of the line lasts 3 seconds. Then, no, why? He didn't call Sunday. He always calls Sunday at 7. Another pause, longer. Let me call you back. Patricia Matthews hangs up, stands in her kitchen where she'll stand thousands more times over the next 31 years waiting. The same kitchen where Jordan ate breakfast every Sunday when he came home to visit. The same window where she watched him leave for Boulder 3 years ago. She calls the San Juan County Sheriff. At 9:47 a.m., March 22, 1994, Deputy Michael Harrison drives to the Red Echo Canyon staging area. Jordan's '87 Toyota pickup sits where he parked it Friday evening. Alone, dusty. The map is folded on the passenger seat, keys in the ignition. Harrison radios it in. At 11:15 a.m., the search begins. 63 personnel. 12 from San Juan County Sheriff. 18 from Utah Search and Rescue. 14 volunteers, 3 helicopters, bloodhounds, climbing gear, grid search protocols. They search the canyon floor, walk every inch of the wash, check every side canyon, every alcove they can reach from the ground, every boulder pile where bodies might be buried. The helicopters fly low, cameras recording, searchers looking down at the sand, the rocks. The evidence of recent flood, mud lines 12 feet up the canyon walls showing where water reached. They fly past the alcove 6 times, can't see it. The alcove faces perpendicular to flight path. From above, it's invisible. From below, it's invisible, only from a specific angle at specific altitude moving horizontally along the wall. Only then does it appear. No one flies that pattern. March 23. Grid search continues. Nothing found. March 24. Bloodhounds track scents to the campsite area, then lose them. Water destroys scent trails. March 25. A searcher finds blue fabric caught on a rock 3 miles downstream. Patricia Matthews sees it, touches it. That's his jacket. That's Jordan's Patagonia windbreaker. The fabric goes to the command post for analysis. Patricia follows in someone's truck, unable to drive, shaking. This is it. This is proof. They're searching the right area. They'll find him. 2 hours later, ma'am, it's not his jacket. Wrong shade of blue, wrong material, probably from a hiker months ago. Patricia's legs give out in the parking lot. She kneels in the red dirt, making sounds no mother should make. David Matthews, ex-husband who drove straight from Seattle when Sarah called, kneels beside her, holding her while she breaks. 3 miles upstream and 187 feet overhead, Jordan lies in the alcove with his compass still on its cord. His engagement ring still in his pocket, his camera still loaded with film. The searchers don't look up. March 26, March 27, March 28. 100 square miles searched, helicopters, climbers, volunteers hiking every accessible section. Dogs, cameras, hope diminishing with each sunset. April 5, 10 days, families camping at the staging area refusing to leave. Patricia standing at the canyon entrance every morning at sunrise. James and Y. Chen driving from Denver, walking the canyon floor, calling Alicia's name until their voices fail. Thomas Washington organizing prayer vigils at his church back home, then flying out to be here to search to do something. April 11, 20 days. The San Juan County Sheriff suspends active search operations. That afternoon, 3 fathers stand in the wash where the campsite would have been. Everything scoured clean by the flood. But on the canyon walls, 12 feet up mud lines, distinct, terrible, proof of water violence. David Matthews looks at those lines, processes what 12 feet of water means, then 30 feet higher upstream where the canyon narrows, then the physics, the force, the impossibility of survival. He makes a sound, not words, just sound. Thomas Washington is crying silently, tears running down his face, not bothering to wipe them. James Chen stands apart, hands in pockets, staring at the walls like if he looks hard enough he'll see through stone. They stand there as the sun sets. 3 fathers who drove from 3 different states, who have walked these canyons for 20 days, who have learned the smell of sage and the color of Utah mud and the sound of helicopters overhead and the feeling of hope dying incrementally day by day by day. They stand there until dark. Above them, 187 feet up in an alcove they'll never see, facing away from the canyon, geometrically invisible, their children rest together. Preserved by the same physics that killed them, held by the earth, waiting. The fathers leave Red Echo Canyon. The search is suspended. The case goes cold. and Sunday at 7:00 p.m. becomes the ghost hour Sarah Collins will carry for the next 305 days. The first year is survival. Patricia Matthews doesn't return to work. Can't. How do you teach second graders to read when your son is missing? How do you smile at children when your child is gone? She takes a leave of absence in May 1994. The leave becomes permanent by August, the month Jordan should have married Sarah, the month that arrives empty and wrong. She stands at her kitchen window every afternoon at 4:15 p.m. waiting. It's irrational. She knows it's irrational. Jordan is in Utah or wherever he is. He won't call at 4:15, but her body remembers. For 3 years of college, Jordan called at 4:15 after classes, check in, say hi, ask what's for dinner. So Patricia stands at the window at 4:15 every single day. For 31 years she'll stand there watching the street, phone silent, ritual becoming grief's architecture. David Matthews quits his engineering job in Seattle and moves to Bluff. Rents a small house 10 miles from Red Echo Canyon. He'll live there for 24 years, hiking the canyon 47 times, once a year every year, plus extras when he can't sleep, when the not knowing becomes unbearable. He walks the same routes, looks at the same walls, searches the same washes. On his 32nd hike in 2007, he walks directly beneath the alcove where Jordan has been for 13 years. The alcove is 187 feet overhead. David looks up at the canyon walls, sees nothing. The geometry hides it perfectly. He stands there for 20 minutes looking, searching, calling Jordan's name into the vertical stone. The canyon doesn't answer. He walks on. Sarah Collins doesn't date for 6 years, keeps Jordan's engagement ring in a velvet box beside her bed. The ring he was carrying in his pocket, planning to wear on the cord with his father's compass once they were officially engaged. She opens the box every Sunday at 7:00 p.m. for the first 3 years, then just on March 19 anniversaries after that. The gold band catches light, empty, waiting for fingers that will never wear it. She runs Jordan's planned hiking routes. The trails they were supposed to do together, Dream Lake, Long's Peak. The maroon bells, she carries his maps, walks his paths, photographs his views. She wears his faded blue Patagonia windbreaker, the one he left at her dorm before the trip, the one that smells less like him every year no matter how carefully she stores it. She's hiking for 2 now, creating the memories they should have made together. Every March 19, she sends letters to the San Juan County Sheriff. Has there been any progress, any new information, anything at all? The responses are kind and useless. The case remains open. Have no new leads. The second year is when everyone else moves on. Friends stop asking. Any news about Jordan becomes a question people avoid because the answer is always no, always painful, always awkward. Acquaintances see Patricia at the grocery store and suddenly remember something in another aisle. Conversations end when she approaches. She becomes the woman whose son disappeared, the reminder that terrible things happen, the person you don't want to think about. Alicia's parents, James and Linda Chen, return to Denver. James is a meticulous man, engineer like Alicia was going to be. He begins cataloging every rock Alicia ever collected. She had 247 specimens on her bookshelf, each labeled with location and date and formation type in her careful handwriting. James photographs each one, creates a database, cross-references geological surveys. It takes him 3 years to catalog all 247 rocks, then he does it again. Linda Chen keeps Alicia's letters in a wooden box, 43 letters Alicia wrote to her grandmother in Taiwan over 3 years, all in careful Chinese characters. Linda's mother sent them back after Alicia disappeared, saying, "These belong with you now." Linda reads 1 letter each month. When she reaches the end, she starts over. The letters are all Linda has of Alicia's voice, and she touches the box 7 times before leaving the house. Alicia's ritual, 7 times for luck. The luck that didn't work. Somewhere in Red Echo Canyon, 187 feet up, Alicia's actual red bandana, the vibrant silk from her grandmother, the one she wore every single day, is still tied around the bones of her left wrist, faded now from sun exposure. Pale pink instead of vibrant red, but still there, still tied, still touching her. Linda doesn't know this, won't know for 31 years. Marcus Washington's father, Thomas, publishes a book in 2001, Waiting in the Canyon, A Father's Journey Through Loss and Faith. It's honest and raw and hopeful in complicated ways. The central thesis: some questions have no earthly answers. Faith means trusting God's timing even when timing feels cruel, making peace with mystery, accepting that resolution may never come. The book helps thousands of grieving parents. Thomas does speaking tours, counsels families of missing children, builds an entire ministry around the idea that you can survive not knowing if you surrender the need to know. He believes it most days. On hard days, March 19, Marcus's birthday, Christmas, he's not sure he believes anything except that his son is gone and God is silent and the canyon keeps its secrets. But he preaches faith anyway. What else is there? The third year, the fifth, the 10th, time becomes measured in anniversaries. March 19 arrives every year like clockwork, like punishment. The families gather, sometimes in person, sometimes by phone. They share updates that aren't updates. No news, still searching, never forgetting. Sarah stops expecting Jordan to walk through the door. That particular hope dies around year 7. But she never stops expecting answers. Answers feel possible. Resolution feels achievable. The bodies are somewhere. Physics says they exist. Missing doesn't mean vanished into alternate dimension. It means not found yet. In 2001, Google Earth launches. For the first time, families can see Red Echo Canyon from above. Satellite perspective, God's eye view. Patricia downloads the software on the library computer because she doesn't own a computer. Learns to navigate, zooms in on Utah, finds San Juan County, locates Red Echo Canyon, and searches. Pixel by pixel, she scans every formation, every shadow, every possible hiding place. Zooms until the image blurs, backs out, tries different angles, different times of day when satellite might have passed over, different seasons when shadows fall differently. David does the same, James and Linda, Thomas, Sarah. Hundreds of hours collectively, thousands of hours individually, staring at satellite images of canyon walls. Convinced that technology will reveal what ground searching couldn't. But satellite images from orbital altitude show down, not sideways. Show static moments, not movement. The alcove facing perpendicular to canyon, sitting in perpetual shadow, visible only from specific oblique angle at specific altitude, doesn't appear. It's there. They're looking at it, can't see it. They have the technology to view from above. They don't have the right angle, the right resolution. The right question, they're asking, where did the flood take them? They should be asking, where did the flood lift them? But no one thinks to ask that. Floods sweep downstream, everyone knows this. Common knowledge, obvious physics, except when it isn't. Year 15, year 20, year 25. Patricia is 73 now, her hair is white. Her hands shake from Parkinson's, diagnosed in 2016. She still stands at the window at 4:15 p.m. Her body won't forget the ritual even when her mind sometimes does. David is 73 as well, living alone in his small house near Bluff, hiking the canyon when his heart allows. The doctors tell him to stop. High altitude, his age, the cardiac stress. He keeps hiking anyway. What's his heart going to do? Kill him? He's been dead since 1994. His body just hasn't figured it out yet. May 2018. David makes his 47th hike into Red Echo Canyon. The trail is harder now. His knees complain, his breath comes short. But he walks the familiar path one more time, looking at walls he's looked at 46 times before, hoping this time will be different. It isn't. He makes it 4.2 miles to where the campsite would have been. Stands there in the sun, looking up at orange sandstone glowing in afternoon light. 187 feet above his head. Jordan's skeletal hand still grips the leather cord of the Vietnam-era compass. David's compass, the one he gave Jordan when Jordan was 12, the one that should have brought Jordan home. David looks up at the walls, sees nothing. Jordan, he says to the empty canyon. Where are you, son? The canyon says nothing. He walks out slowly, drives back to his house, makes dinner, goes to sleep. He dies in his sleep on November 3, 2018. Heart failure. 73 years old. Spent 24 years searching for his son. Made 47 trips into Red Echo Canyon. Walked beneath Jordan 47 times without knowing. 7 years too soon. If he'd lived until April 2025, he would have known, would have seen the compass again. would have held it in his hands, tarnished but intact, still on its leather cord, proof that Jordan carried David with him to the end. But David dies in 2018, and the compass stays in the canyon, and the geometric impossibility continues. Sarah is 51 years old in 2024, never married, never stopped wearing Jordan's jacket on cold hikes, never stopped running his routes or writing annual letters to the sheriff or opening the velvet ring box on March 19. She maintains a website, findingjordanmatthews.com. Updates it every March 19 with photos, maps, appeals for information. The site gets 47 visitors a year, mostly bots, sometimes families of other missing people looking for hope in someone else's search. The site is a digital memorial, a way of saying Jordan existed, Jordan mattered, Jordan is still missing and someone still cares. Patricia is 79, barely leaving her house now, Parkinson's making daily life difficult. She's forgotten many things, hasn't forgotten Jordan, hasn't forgotten standing at the window at 4:15, hasn't forgotten that her son went hiking 30 years ago and never came home. Thomas Washington is 85, still preaching every Sunday at his church in Denver, still counseling grieving parents, still believing mostly that faith sustains when answers don't come. He's made peace with mystery, has to believe he has or the last 30 years were for nothing. James and Linda Chen are in their 70s, living in the same house in Denver, Alicia's room still exactly as she left it. The rocks cataloged, the letters read and reread, the hope mostly gone now, replaced by acceptance. Their daughter is gone, where she is they may never know, but she existed, she was brilliant and methodical and kind. They remember, everyone remembers, 30 years becomes 31, the family's age, technology advances. Drones become mainstream cheap consumer models by 2015, professional grade with 8K cameras by 2024. Search and rescue teams start using them. Hikers film their adventures. The technology exists that could find the alcove. Someone just needs to fly the right path at the right altitude at the right angle on the right day. April 3, 2025. Jake Thornton, outdoor photographer, 32 years old, launches his DJI Mavic 3 Pro drone into Red Echo Canyon. He's not searching for anything, just filming. Canyon light is perfect in early April. He's building a portfolio, needs aerial footage of Southwest Slot canyons. He flies the drone low, following the canyon walls, letting the camera track along sandstone formations at various altitudes. The 8K camera captures everything in impossible detail. At 3:47 p.m., he reviews the footage on his laptop back at his airbnb in Bluff. Frame 4, 847. He sees something blue, something orange, something metal reflecting sun, at an altitude of 187 feet, in an alcove he didn't even know existed. Jake Thornton backs up the footage, plays it again, zooms in. That's not supposed to be there, he says to his empty room. He calls the San Juan County Sheriff at 4:03 p.m. You're going to need climbers, he says, 31 years, 305 days. The answer was always there. 187 feet up, geometrically invisible, perfectly preserved. The compass, the bandana, the camcorder, the camera, the blue mug, the three friends who went camping and never came home, waiting for someone to look at the right angle, waiting for technology to catch up to tragedy, waiting to be found. April 4, 2025, 7:30 a.m. The San Juan County Sheriff's Technical Rescue Team assembles in the Red Echo Canyon staging area parking lot. Same parking lot where Jordan's truck sat empty in March 1994. Same red dirt, same sage and creosote smell, same canyon walls rising vertical into cloudless blue sky, 5 climbers, 2 medical examiners, 3 forensic technicians, 1 canyon that's kept its secret for 305 days. Captain Mike Rodriguez briefs the team. He's 48, been with San Juan County SAR for 23 years, participated in the original 1994 search. Alcove at 187 feet, eastern wall 4.2 miles in, access requires rappel from rim. Jake Thornton's drone footage shows fabric, metal, possible remains. We treat this as recovery, not rescue. We document everything. We bring them home. He doesn't say their names, doesn't need to. Everyone on this team knows the Red Echo Canyon case. 3 college students 31 years missing, the search that never ended just paused. By 9:15 a.m., they're positioned on the canyon rim directly above the alcove. The approach required 2 hours of hiking with 200 pounds of technical gear, ropes, anchors, stretchers, evidence bags, documentation equipment. Emily Chen, no relation to Alicia's family, is lead climber. 34 years old, SAR specialist, rock climbing instructor. She's made 400-plus technical rescues, never one like this. At 9:47 a.m., she clips into the rope system and backs over the rim. The rappel takes 8 minutes. The alcove opening is 4 feet wide, 6 feet tall, facing perpendicular to canyon. From below, invisible. From above, invisible. Only from this angle, descending the wall, rope swaying slightly, morning light at specific slant, does it appear. Emily's boots touch the alcove floor at 9:55 a.m. She clips her safety line, turns on her headlamp, keys her radio. I'm in, pause, confirming human remains, multiple, 3 individuals, camping equipment present, scene is intact. Her voice cracks on the last word. The alcove is 8 feet deep, 12 feet wide. The ceiling curves in a smooth dome that protected everything beneath from rain, from wind, from the temperature extremes that should have destroyed organic material decades ago. The dry air preserved what wet earth would have consumed. 3 sleeping bags shredded by the violence of water but recognizable. Blue, green, orange. A tent torn to pieces, fabric scattered across alcove floor. A camp stove dented but intact, and bones. Emily has seen death before. Car accidents. Climbing falls, drownings. But these were college students, 20 years old, 21. They had parents and plans and futures. They've been here for 31 years while the world moved on, technology advanced, families aged. They've been here together, undiscovered, invisible, perfectly preserved by the same geography that hid them. She documents with her camera, photographs every angle. The forensic team will need complete visual record before anything moves. Then she kneels beside the first set of remains. Male, skeletal, lying on his side, arm extended. Around the neck vertebrae a leather cord. On the cord a brass compass, tarnished green but intact. Emily touches it with gloved fingers. The metal is cold. The leather cord is stiff and dry but unbroken. She turns the compass carefully. Inscribed on the back, true north always, dad, oh God, she whispers. Jordan Matthews, 21 years old. Environmental science major. Engaged to Sarah Collins. Planning graduate school in desert ecology. Wanted to work for the National Park Service. Made coffee in a blue enamel mug every morning. Called his fiancée every Sunday at 7:00 p.m. Has been lying in this alcove for 305 days, wearing his father's compass. The compass David Matthews carried through Vietnam. The compass David Matthews gave to his son when Jordan turned. The compass David Matthews died without ever seeing again. Emily's hands are shaking. She photographs the compass, tags it, marks its position, moves to the next set of remains, female, smaller frame, right arm position near torso, around the left wrist bones, red silk, faded to pale pink but still recognizably a bandana. Still tied in the same knot Alicia Chen tied 305 days ago. 7 touches for luck before she climbed into the tent that final night. The bandana moved with her through the flood, stayed on her wrist through hydraulic violence powerful enough to lift her body 187 feet, remained tied through 3 decades of temperature cycles, through seasons, through time. Emily photographs it, tags it, has to pause because her vision is blurring. 3rd set of remains, male, near the alcove wall. Beside the bones, a Denver Broncos cap. Sun-bleached almost white, bill facing backward the way Marcus Washington always wore it. And beside the cap, a Sony Hi-8 camcorder in a waterproof case. Emily picks up the camcorder carefully. The case is scratched, dented, but sealed. She opens it. The tape is still inside. Jesus, she breathes into her radio. The camcorder has tape, sealed case, might be playable. The radio crackles. Medical examiner Dr. Sarah Okoy, don't remove anything yet. Document position first. Emily photographs everything, the compass, the bandana, the cap, the camcorder, the camping gear scattered across the alcove, the blue enamel camp mug dented but recognizable. Jordan's Nikon F3 camera film still loaded inside. Alicia's rock hammer still clipped to her belt. Marcus's watch stopped at 2:51 a.m. the moment they died. It takes 3 hours to document the scene, every bone, every object, every piece of fabric. The forensic photographers shoot 400+ images. The medical examiners note positions, take measurements, collect samples. At 1:15 p.m., they begin recovery. Emily lifts the compass first, removes it carefully from the neck vertebrae, places it in an evidence bag. The leather cord curls in her palm. She thinks about David Matthews hiking this canyon 47 times, walking beneath his sun, dying 7 years ago without knowing Jordan was here. 187 feet up, wearing the compass the entire time. She places the bag in the evidence kit, keys her radio. First item recovered, Vietnam-era compass with inscription, Jordan Matthews. At the staging area 2 miles away, waiting in a communications tent, Dr. Maria Gonzalez, forensic anthropologist from University of New Mexico, makes a note on her tablet. In 6 hours, she'll call Patricia Matthews. In 7 hours, Patricia will hold her son's compass for the first time in 31 years, will read her ex-husband's inscription, will understand that Jordan carried his father with him to the end. But now Maria just writes compass, tagged, recovered by 3:30 p.m. All 3 sets of remains are in body bags. All personal effects are cataloged. The camping gear is documented but left in place too degraded to remove safely. The bodies are raised on stretchers, one at a time. Slow ascent up 187 feet of vertical wall, climbers managing ropes from above, medical team receiving the stretchers at rim level. Jordan first, then Alicia, then Marcus. At 4:47 p.m., all 3 are on the canyon rim. Emily Chen is the last to ascend. She clips out at 5:03 p.m., stands on the rim looking down at the alcove that kept them. The alcove that preserved them through 31 winters and 31 summers. The alcove that gave them back. Thank you, she says to the canyon. The canyon says nothing. That evening, Dr. Maria Gonzalez sits in a San Juan County Sheriff's conference room with evidence bags laid out on a table. Compass, bandana, camcorder, camera, rock hammer, cap, watch, blue mug. The forensic video lab in Albuquerque called at 6:15 p.m. The camcorder tape is playable, degraded but functional. They're digitizing it now. Should have footage available by tomorrow morning. The camera film is being sent to a specialized lab. 31 years in a sealed camera in dry conditions, there's a chance the images survived. Maria picks up the compass, studies the inscription. True North, always Dad. She's made death notifications for 15 years, thought she delivered every possible version of terrible news. But this, telling families that after 305 days of not knowing, they finally know. That the answer was always there, 187 feet up, geometrically invisible. That their children stayed together, that nature preserved them. That a drone found what 63 searchers missed. She doesn't know how to frame that, doesn't know if there are words. At 7:30 p.m., she calls Patricia Matthews. The phone rings 3 times before Patricia answers. Her voice is old, shaky from Parkinson's. Hello, Mrs. Matthews, this is Dr. Maria Gonzalez. I'm a forensic anthropologist working with San Juan County Sheriff's Department. Silence. Then, you found him, not a question, a statement, 31 years of waiting, Patricia knows. Yes, ma'am, yesterday a drone pilot discovered an alcove in Red Echo Canyon. This morning our recovery team accessed the site. We found 3 sets of remains. Preliminary identification based on personal effects is positive for Jordan Matthews, Alicia Chen, and Marcus Washington. Patricia makes a sound, not words, just sound, the sound of 31 years ending, the sound of the longest wait finally over. Where? Patricia whispers. Where was he? 187 feet up the eastern canyon wall, in an alcove that faces perpendicular to the main canyon. It was invisible from ground level. The search teams in 1994 walked directly beneath it multiple times. But from their position, there was no way to see it. 187 feet up. Yes, ma'am, we believe a flash flood event created a hydraulic lift phenomenon, rare but documented. The water column rose vertically, carrying the victims and their camping equipment into the alcove, where they remained preserved by the dry conditions. Silence, Maria waits. My husband walked that canyon 47 times, Patricia finally says. He died 7 years ago, he never knew. I'm so sorry. No, Patricia's voice is steady now, stronger. He's at peace now. Jordan is too. They're both at peace. After 31 years, they're at peace. Mrs. Matthews, your son was wearing a compass, brass with a leather cord. It's inscribed True North Always Dad is this. That's David's, Patricia says, his Vietnam compass. He gave it to Jordan when he was 12. Jordan was still wearing it. After 31 years, the cord is intact. The compass is intact. Your husband's gift stayed with your son. Patricia is crying. Maria can hear it through the phone, but Patricia keeps talking. When can I? You'll receive Jordan's remains and personal effects within 10 days. The compass will be returned to you. If you'd like to come to Bluff, we can arrange access to the recovery site. Yes, I want to see where he was. I want to stand where they found him. We'll arrange that, Mrs. Matthews, your son died quickly. The medical examiner is confident all 3 victims lost consciousness during the flood event. They didn't suffer prolonged exposure or injury. The alcove protected their remains. They stayed together. Together, Patricia repeats. All 3 of them, all 3. Sarah Collins is teaching at Boulder Community College when her phone rings at 7:52 p.m. She ignores it in the middle of lecture, but it rings again and again. She steps into the hallway. Sarah Collins. Speaking, this is Dr. Maria Gonzalez, forensic anthropologist with San Juan County. I'm calling about Jordan Matthews. Sarah's legs give out. She sits on the hallway floor back against the wall, students still in classroom behind her. You found him. Yes, ma'am, yesterday. I'm so sorry to inform you that Jordan has been deceased since March 20, 1994, but we've recovered his remains and several personal items, including an engagement ring. Sarah closes her eyes. He was carrying it, planning to wear it on the cord with his compass once we were officially engaged. The ring is intact, gold band. Do you have a description on file? Inscription inside, Sarah says. August 12, 1995, forever. Maria checks the evidence log. Confirmed, that matches. Sarah is crying silently, tears running down her face, hand over her mouth to stay quiet. Students are 10 feet away. Can I? Sarah starts, then stops. Can I see him, the site where he was? Yes, we're arranging family visits to the recovery location. You're welcome to come. I need to see where he spent 31 years. I need to know he wasn't alone. He wasn't alone, Maria says gently. All 3 of them were together, in the same alcove. We believe they died together during the flood event and remained together for 31 years. The canyon kept them safe. Nature gave them back. The calls continue through the night. James and Linda Chen in Denver, Thomas Washington in his church rectory, families who waited 305 days, families who aged through hope and despair and acceptance, families who never stopped searching even when the search seemed hopeless. By midnight, all families have been notified. All are making travel arrangements to Bluff. All want to see the alcove. Want to stand in the canyon where their children died. Want to understand how water lifted them 187 feet. Want to hold the compass and the bandana and the camcorder that documented final moments. April 6, 2025, 9:00 a.m. The families gather at the Red Echo Canyon staging area. Patricia Matthews, 79 years old, Parkinson's making her hands shake, but she's standing. She's here. Sarah Collins, 51, wearing Jordan's faded Patagonia jacket even though it's too warm for it. James and Linda Chen, both in their 70s, holding hands the way they've held hands through 31 years of not knowing. Thomas Washington, 85, leaning on his walking stick, wearing his minister's collar even on this hiking trail because he'll be conducting a service. A goodbye, a benediction, a release. Dr. Gonzalez stands with them. The recovery team is present. Emily Chen, who touched the compass first, who lifted Jordan's remains, who spoke to the canyon. They hike 4.2 miles into Red Echo Canyon. Slow pace, Patricia struggles. Sarah helps her. Thomas prays quietly as he walks. At 11:30 a.m. they stand beneath the alcove. It's invisible. From the canyon floor you can see nothing. Just sheer sandstone wall rising vertical into blue sky. No opening, no shadow. No indication that 187 feet up, 3 bodies rested for 31 years. How? James asks. How could we miss it? Emily explains the geometry. The alcove faces perpendicular. From ground, you're looking at smooth wall. From above, you're looking down, missing the lateral opening. Only from specific oblique angle at specific altitude does it appear. Your search wasn't inadequate, Emily says. The canyon hid them, not maliciously, just geometry. Physics, the shape of stone. Patricia kneels in the red dirt, places both hands flat against the ground. This is where her son walked, this sand, these rocks. The last earth Jordan touched before the water came. She stays there for a long time. No one rushes her. When she stands, Thomas Washington raises both arms to the sky. Lord, he says, his voice echoing off canyon walls, we thank you for bringing our children home, for preserving them, for the technology that finally revealed what we couldn't see, for 31 years of faith, for answered prayer even when the answer hurt. He lowers his arms, looks at the families. They were together, he says, in life and in death. The canyon kept them, now we bring them home. Patricia is holding the evidence bag with Jordan's compass. The zipper is open. She touches the brass with one finger, still tarnished, still inscribed. Still carrying David's words, true north, always dad. Brought you home, Jordan, she whispers. Your father brought you home. 47 times he tried, and on the 48th, through this compass, through technology, through us being here, he finally did. She looks up at the alcove she can't see. Rest now, my boy, rest. The canyon holds the words for a moment, then releases them, and 31 years of searching ends in red dirt and spring sunshine and families standing together where their children died, bringing them home, finally. April 12, 2025. The families gather in a conference room at the San Juan County Sheriff's Department. On the table, 3 evidence boxes, sealed, labeled Jordan Blake Matthews, Alicia Marie Chen, Marcus Tyrell Washington. Beside the boxes, a laptop. Dr. Maria Gonzalez from the Forensic Video Lab in Albuquerque stands next to it. The camcorder tape was remarkably preserved, she says. The waterproof case protected it from moisture and temperature extremes. We've digitized 47 minutes of footage. The last 47 minutes Marcus Washington filmed before the battery died. She looks at the families. This is hard to watch. You'll see your children alive, happy hours before they died. If you'd prefer not to, play it, Patricia says. Maria clicks play. The screen fills with Marcus's face. Big smile, warm eyes, his voice, day 1. Spring break 1994, Red Echo Canyon Expedition. Thomas Washington makes a sound, his son's voice. After 31 years of silence, his son's voice. The footage continues. Jordan at the gas station in Pueblo ordering burritos. Alicia calculating mileage on a napkin. The drive south, mountains sliding past windows. Arrival in Bluff, setting up camp in the staging area. Then March 20, the hike in. Marcus filming Jordan studying the map, tongue at corner of mouth, squinting. Alicia examining rock formations, explaining cross-bedding patterns to the camera, her voice precise and enthusiastic. Lunch on the boulder at 2:17 p.m. Jordan teasing Marcus about filming everything, Marcus laughing. This is history, man, we'll watch this when we're old. Sarah is crying silently. She's watching Jordan move, talk, exist. He's 21 again, he's alive. The video gives him back for 47 minutes, then will take him away forever. The footage shows campsite setup. Jordan making coffee in his blue enamel mug, that careful ritual. Alicia chipping rock samples, placing them in labeled bags. Dinner by camp stove, the stars emerging overhead, then the final sequence. Marcus turns the camera on himself and his friends lying on sleeping bags, Milky Way brilliant above them. How you feeling, Jordan? Jordan's crooked smile fills the screen. Good man, this is perfect. Alicia, optimal, they all laugh. Marcus turns the camera on himself. Day 1 complete. March 19, 1994. Red Echo Canyon, best spring break ever. The timestamp reads 7:30 p.m. The screen goes black. The conference room is silent except for crying. Patricia, Sarah, Linda, Thomas. All of them watching their children disappear into darkness one more time. There's more, Maria says gently. Jordan's camera. The film survived. 24 images were recoverable. She opens a folder, pulls out photographs printed on archival paper. The last photographs Jordan Matthews ever took. The flatirons at dawn from his apartment window, his truck loaded with gear. Alicia laughing at the gas station. The road stretching south into desert. Red Echo Canyon opening before them. The campsite at 4:30 p.m. The canyon walls turning amber in late afternoon light. And the final image, Alicia examining a sandstone outcrop, sunlight on her face, her shadow long across red earth. Taken at approximately 6:30 p.m. March 19, 1994. The last thing Jordan saw through his viewfinder before the sun set. The last moment he considered worth preserving. James Chen takes the photograph with shaking hands, studies his daughter's face. She's concentrating, happy, doing exactly what she loved. Analyzing rock, understanding geology, being in the canyon. She died doing what she loved, he says quietly. That matters. May 15, 2025. Patricia Matthews sits in her living room holding Jordan's compass. The leather cord has been cleaned, conditioned, preserved. The brass has been polished carefully, not to remove the patina of 31 years but to protect it from further corrosion. The inscription catches afternoon light. True north, always dad. She's reading it for the 1,000th time when the phone rings. Mom, Patricia's heart stops. For one impossible second, she thinks, but it's not Jordan, it's David Jr., her younger son named after his father, 38 years old now, living in Portland, calling to check on her the way he does every day since Jordan was found. I'm okay, Patricia says, looking at the compass. Does it help? Yes. I don't know why, but yes. David spent 24 years searching. Jordan spent 31 years waiting, and this compass was with both of them. It's proof they were together even though they never knew it. She touches the brass once, twice, 3 times. Jordan's ritual now hers. I'm not standing at the window anymore, she says. At 4:15, I stopped. David Jr. is quiet. Then that's good, Mom. That's really good. I know where he is now. He's at peace. I don't have to wait anymore. July 14, 2025. Sarah Collins stands at Dream Lake in Rocky Mountain National Park. Elevation 10,000 feet, Jordan's favorite hiking destination, the place they were supposed to hike together after graduation, after the wedding, after everything. She's wearing his Patagonia jacket, carrying his engagement ring in her pocket, and in her hands, a simple wooden box containing Jordan's ashes. Patricia gave her permission. He would have wanted you to choose where he rests. Sarah chose here, Dream Lake, where alpine waters reflect Hallett Peak in perfect stillness, where wildflowers bloom in impossible colors, where Jordan photographed star trails and morning light and the future they should have had. She opens the box. The wind is gentle, perfect. I loved you, she says, to the lake, the mountains, the sky. I loved you for 2 years. Then I loved your memory for 31 more. 33 years, Jordan, that's a lifetime. She tilts the box. The ashes catch wind, drift over the water, disappear into reflections and light. You can rest now. Dream Lake will keep you, and I'll keep coming here, but not to wait anymore. To remember, there's a difference. She places the empty box on a rock, pulls out the engagement ring. Gold band. Inscription inside, August 12, 1995. Forever. For 31 years, she kept this ring in a velvet box beside her bed, waiting for fingers that would never wear it. Now she slips it onto her own right hand, not as an engagement, as a promise kept. As proof that love survives death, survives time, survives 31 years of not knowing, she touches the ring. Once, twice, 3 times. Then she walks back down the trail, wearing Jordan's jacket and Jordan's ring and carrying Jordan's memory in a way that finally feels like peace instead of vigil. August 22, 2025. Thomas Washington stands at the pulpit of his church in Denver. The sanctuary is full. Marcus's memorial service. 5 months after recovery, long enough to plan, long enough to grieve the shock, long enough to find words. I wrote a book in 2001, Thomas begins, called Waiting in the Canyon, about making peace with mystery, about trusting God's timing when timing feels cruel, about accepting that some questions have no earthly answers. He pauses, looks at the photograph of Marcus on the altar, 21 years old, forever 21. I believed what I wrote. I counseled thousands of families with that book, told them faith means surrendering the need to know, that we can survive not knowing if we trust. He grips the pulpit. And then God gave me an answer, 31 years late. 7 years after my wife died. When I'm 85 years old and thought I'd made peace with mystery, the congregation is silent. I don't know what to do with that, Thomas admits. I spent 31 years learning to live without answers. Now I have them. Marcus died quickly, didn't suffer, stayed with his friends. The canyon preserved them. Technology found them. I got to bring my son home. His voice breaks. After 31 years, God answered. What does that mean for all the families still waiting? For all the people I counseled to make peace? Was I wrong to tell them to surrender? He looks at Marcus's photograph. No, I wasn't wrong, because the waiting was real. The grief was real. The need to survive not knowing was real. Faith isn't about getting answers eventually. Faith is about surviving the gap between question and answer, whether that gap is 31 years or forever. He raises his arms the way he raised them in Red Echo Canyon when they brought Marcus home. Marcus lived 21 years, been gone 31, that's more time gone than alive. But he mattered, matters still, will always matter, not because we found him, because he existed. Because he laughed and filmed and said best spring break ever hours before he died. Because he was here. Thomas lowers his arms. We don't get to choose what answers come or when. We get to choose whether we survive the waiting. Marcus's story ended in 1994. Our waiting ended in 2025. Both are true, both mattered, and God was there the entire time, in the waiting, in the finding, in the 31 years between. The congregation says amen. Thomas steps down from the pulpit, places his hand on Marcus's photograph. Rest easy, son. You're home. September 2025. James and Linda Chen stand in their Denver living room looking at Alicia's rock collection. All 247 specimens displayed now in a custom-built glass case James designed. Each rock labeled with Alicia's careful handwriting. Each one a place she visited, a formation she studied, a moment she found optimal. Beside the case, Alicia's red bandana, not in a shadow box anymore, mounted under museum-quality UV-protective glass. The faded silk preserved exactly as it was found. Pale pink instead of vibrant red, 31 years visible in the color change, but still tied in the same knot Alicia tied on March 19, 1994, still carrying her grandmother's blessing. Still touched 7 times by the girl who believed in luck and ritual and the power of silk to protect. It didn't protect her, but it stayed with her, and that matters. She collected rocks from everywhere she went. Linda says, touching the glass case, 247 places, 247 moments of examining Earth and understanding it. That was her life, understanding geology, understanding how the world is built. James nods. The canyon taught her something final, about how water moves through stone, about hydraulic forces, about what happens when physics meets flesh. He touches Alicia's bandana glass. 7 times her ritual. She would have found that intellectually fascinating, he says. The waterspout phenomenon, the vertical lift, the alcove preservation. If she could have studied it from the outside, she would have been thrilled. Linda smiles sadly. Optimal, they stand there together, 2 parents who waited 31 years, who cataloged rocks and read letters and touched silk 7 times before leaving the house, who made rituals from their daughter's rituals because rituals are how humans survive the unsurvivable. She's at peace, Linda says. We can be too. James takes her hand. Yes, we can. March 19, 2026. 1 year after discovery, the families return to Red Echo Canyon, not to search, not to wait, to remember. They stand in the staging area parking lot where Jordan's truck sat empty in 1994, where Patricia stood at 4:15 p.m. every day for years, where search teams assembled, where hope became despair, became acceptance, became, finally, resolution. Emily Chen, the climber who touched the compass first, is here too. She's helped coordinate this gathering, brought flowers, brought respect. Patricia is 80 years old now, Parkinson's worse, but standing. She places Jordan's photograph at the base of a small memorial marker the county installed. In memory of Jordan Matthews, Alicia Chen, Marcus Washington, lost March 20, 1994. Found April 3, 2025, forever young. Sarah places the velvet box that held Jordan's engagement ring for 31 years. Empty now. The ring is on her finger where it belongs. James and Linda place Alicia's moleskine notebook, the one filled with geological observations, sketches, dreams of discovering new formations. Thomas places Marcus's Denver Broncos cap, not the one found in the alcove, that's with the coroner evidence. This is Marcus's other cap, identical, sun-bleached from different years, different adventures. They stand in silence. Wind moves through canyon, sage and creosote smell, red dirt, blue sky. Everything exactly as it was in 1994. Everything completely changed. They were together, Patricia says finally. For 31 years they were together. The canyon kept them safe, technology brought them home, and now they rest in places they loved. Jordan at Dream Lake. Alicia in the Geology Museum at CU Boulder, where her rock collection is now displayed for students. Marcus in the cemetery beside his mother. She touches the memorial marker. They don't need us to stand vigil anymore. They're not waiting. They're not lost. They're remembered. Thomas raises his arms one final time. Lord, we release them. We release our vigil. We release 31 years of waiting. Thank you for answers. Thank you for preservation. Thank you for bringing them home. The wind carries his words into the canyon. The canyon holds them for a moment, then lets them go. And 31 years of searching, of standing at windows, of walking beneath alcoves, of touching compasses 3 times, of reading letters, of preaching faith through doubt, all of it ends, not with answers that heal, but with answers that complete, with knowledge that replaces mystery, with peace that acknowledges permanent loss while refusing to be consumed by it. Jordan Matthews was 21 years old when he vanished, would be 52 now if things had gone differently. If upstream rain hadn't fallen, if hydraulic physics hadn't lifted him impossibly high, if geometry hadn't hidden him perfectly. But things didn't go differently, and he was 21, and the world continued turning without him for 31 years. This is what resolution looks like, not restoration but completion, not healing but witness, not closure but the transformation of vigil into memory, of waiting into peace, of mystery into truth. Jordan Matthews was here. Alicia Chen was here. Marcus Washington was here. They mattered. They matter still. They will always matter. And their story, like all stories of lives taken too soon, is both ended and eternal, both finished and still unfolding in everyone they left behind. The families walk out of Red Echo Canyon. The canyon remains, silent, patient, keeping its remaining secrets. Waiting for the next technology, the next discovery, the next moment when Earth reveals what it has preserved.